So as we all know, there are plenty of unbalanced weapons in Team Fortress 2. In response, I've decided to make a series in an attempt to make suggestions to Valve on how to balance these weapons better, showing off the overpowered weapons, the underpowered weapons, and how we can balance them, and also some new weapon concepts that I've come up with myself. So I guess this first episode will be with the Scalp. Now the Scout only had one overpowered weapon that really stood out to me, and that was the Criticola. Essentially what the Criticola does is it makes the Scout move a little bit faster and gives him mini crits, however it makes him take damage. I actually don't know the stats for the crit because they've changed it so many times. Hold on. TF2 crit. So apparently according to the wiki, the user has increased movement speed by 25% and gives mini crits. However, damage taken is increased by 10%. The user is also marked for death for 2 seconds after the effect expires. So since the Criticola is considered overpowered by many people, I thought I'd nerf it a little bit by, upon drink, making the Scout move at the speed of a heavy that takes critical hits, but the mini crit aspect stays the same, as the Scout can still give off mini crits. And that was really the only overpowered weapon I could find, to be honest, for the Scout at least, so let's move on to underpowered weapons. So the first one I have is the shortstop. Now I think that the concept of the shortstop is really shallow, so I thought we should just turn the shortstop into a full-on medigun for the Scout. It works the exact same as a regular medigun, however upon ubercharge it makes 1,000 mad milk bottles rain down around the player upon activating ubercharge. I think that this is a good idea for a weapon because it turns the Scout into a support class, and also is really fun to play. It also introduces a new strategy to the Scout, which is, pretty good. Next up we have the Soda Popper. Now remember back a while ago when you used to build hype upon move speed instead of damage? Well, I propose that we bring that back, and upon activating the hype it gives the player unlimited jump for the rest of the round. I think this will provide some new strategies, giving the Scout more power to move around and harder to hit, which is what the Scout's all about. Next up we have the Babyface's Blaster. I think that the stats for the BFB are actually quite well. There's one thing missing, so in order to fulfill that, I think that upon shooting the enemy, it replaces the current player's hit sound with the Savage Babies meme.
We have taken the enemy intelligence.
Next up we have the Backscatter. Now the Backscatter is really irrelevant. So I think that in order to spice it up, you should just turn it into a knife, much similar to the Spy's Conver's kunai. Basically gives the Scout the ability to backstab players and ability to get overheal upon a backstab. I think that this is a great idea as it utilizes Scout's flanking abilities and his speed overall. Next we have the Winger. Now the Winger is a really underused pistol in my opinion. Like in all seriousness, I think this isn't too terrible of a pistol. But most people seem to think that it's underpowered, so I say let's increase the jump height to ×10. Basically every jump that you make is multiplied by 10. And also I'd like to bring back set bonuses, but this will only be a 2-item set bonus, and that when it is equipped with the Soda Popper, it allows you to literally no-clip through the skybox walls of the map. I think this is a good idea because it provides Scout a little bit of cover as he is behind the literal skybox of the map, and it also helps him counter sentry guns. Next up we have the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. Now this weapon has always been quite a laughingstock within the TF2 community. I think that in order to make this weapon a little bit more powerful, you should be able to let the Scout dual wield 2 Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistols that have a 10 times fire rate of the stock pistol. I think that this will give Scout a little bit more of a machine gun than a pistol, which would let him get more damage output and be a great secondary to his primary scattergun. So about the Candy Cane. The Candy Cane is really underused because there are just so many other better options. So I think that in order to give the Candy Cane a bit of a twist, upon killing an enemy it restarts the entire server and makes literal Team Fortress 2 downgrade and that it goes back and update. I have a little chart for this. As you can see, if a scout gets a kill with a candy cane, Team Fortress 2 quote-unquote updates to go back and update. Preferably, I think it'd be a good idea to go back a Smithmas update since it's a candy cane. But hey, you know. I think this is a really cool concept because it changes the literal game, which is, you know, pretty neat. Ooh, the sun on a stick. Probably use this as a thumbnail for the video. Sun on a stick is a real laughing stock, the community right next to the sharpened volcano fragment. So I think that this weapon is in need for a major buff. So I propose stats that some may disagree with, especially logical scientists around the globe. But basically, I think that when someone gets hit with the sun on a stick, it makes the literal sun in our solar system let out an EMP/solar flare that breaks through the Earth's magnetic field and EMPs the computer of the one that you hit. Some people might think that this is a little overpowered, but I think that it's really cool because it gives the scout the ability to play God, which is, you know, pretty cool.
The world is still spinning, as evident by the rotation of this globe. We did narrowly escape a catastrophic event in July of 2012. On the 23rd of July, the Sun expelled something known as a coronal mass ejection, or CME for short. A CME is a release of large quantities of magnetized plasma, and if it strikes the Earth, it can cause some serious damage to any and all electronic devices.
Next up we have the Rap Assassin. Now I think that the Rap Assassin is a completely stupid concept, so I think you should just make it a reskin of the Sandman. So those are all the underpowered weapons that spoke to me for this scout. Now let's propose some new weapon ideas. So for each episode in the new weapons ideas category, I'll propose one weapon for each of the weapon slots for that particular character. Now the scout has a basic one with a primary, secondary, and melee, so I'll just do one of each. So for a primary, I propose a scattergun that does 2 times the damage. However, the clip size is reduced by 5/6. I don't know what percentage that is because I'm too lazy to find out. So it basically just means that the scattergun has only 1 shot. The ammo capacity would be the same, but the clip size would be reduced to only 1 shot clip. However, after shooting the scattergun, I think that the scout should do the laughing taunt. Hold on, let me figure out what that's called. Schadenfreude? Scout should do the Schadenfreude taunt every time he shoots a shot. I think that this will encourage a more risky scout game, and that the scout will literally have the ability to pick almost any class in the game. However, it is at the risk of his own life. Pretty huge risk at that, as you're wide open in the field doing the laughing taunt. Now for a scout secondary, I don't really have a new idea, but I do have one, and that is to make the buffalo steak sandwich a multi-class weapon and have it equipable on the scout. And we all know how scouts like to hit people. I mean, it's just a thing in TF2 culture. So I think that the buffalo steak sandwich would be a good weapon for the scout, as it would make him rely more on his melee, which is what all scout mains want to do, let's be honest. Finally get to put a use to that holy mackerel spamming. It's also relatively lore friendly, as it's not that ridiculous to have the scout steal a sandwich from the heavy. But for a melee, I think that the scout should have a baseball bat similar to the Sandman, in that he hits a baseball at someone. However, I think that the baseball should be Babe Ruth's baseball, because this baseball will have the ability to change the map. So basically take the Sandman and make it so that whenever he hits one of the balls and hits someone with it, it changes the map of the server to PLR Hightower. Hightower is a really good map for scouts, as there's really no sentry guns, unless you're a dude. Basically, giving the scout the ability to change the map to his favor is a really powerful tool, and I think that would give Scout a little more power, as we all know Scout's really, really underpowered, am I right? So these are my weapon balanced / new weapon ideas. You can disagree with me in the comments or propose new ideas below, but otherwise thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in 2020 when Vermin Supreme is elected president.